All right, guys. In yesterday's session, we discussed about auto wiring. Okay. Now, today's session, we are going to talk about banner in Spring Boot. We're going to talk about what is banner in Spring Boot and how to customize that banner. What is banner in Spring Boot and how to customize that banner, we are going to understand as part of today's class. All right. Now, when we run Spring Boot application, when we run Spring Boot application, it will print banner and console. It will print Spring logo as banner on console. It will print Spring logo as banner on console. Right now, Spring Boot provided flexibility to customize that banner. Spring Boot provided flexibility to customize that banner. What is the meaning of that flexibility? You can stop that banner. You can change that banner content also. If you want, you can stop that banner, or if you want, you can change that banner content also. By default, Spring logo is printing as the banner. In the real time, people will print company name as a banner name, or people will print project name as a banner name. But by default, Spring is the name that is printing as the banner content. All right. Now, go to our workspace. And see how that banner is getting printed. As part of which method that banner logic is going to be executed? Run method. Our boot application's execution is getting started from the run method. As part of the run method, they are calling one method called print banner method. Inside that method, logic is available to print that banner on the console. If we see the logic of the print banner method, we will understand how that banner is getting printed on the console. So let me go to that. Application got started. All right, now. So go to any example which is developed based on Spring Boot. Let's run that application and see the banner on the console. Later we will see the predefined code available for printing the banner, and we will see how to customize that banner. I'm going for our fourth application, that is field injection. Go to start class. That is application.java. Yes. Now run this application, guys. Run this boot application and see the console. Application is getting started. Yeah, application started and stopped. So what is this, guys? Can I say it is a banner in the Spring Boot?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Yep, this is called as banner in the Spring Boot. Okay. Now, so am I writing any logic to print that banner, or it is printing by default?
By default.
By default.
Printing by
By
default.
default, it is printing. That means somewhere the logic is executing. Somewhere the logic is executing to print the banner. Now, earlier when we have seen the run method, there we have seen one method called print banner method. Go to predefined logic of the run method. Inside the run method, is there anything available related to banner?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
What is happening at the 322 line number, guys? 322 line number.
Banner
What
is
is that?
Banner object.
Banner basically.
So
banner
method,
banner class is
run
there.
method internally calling one method called print banner method. Run method internally calling one method called print banner
banner
method.
method.
Now open this method print banner. Now just read this logic, guys. Once observe this logic, then we will understand what is that. Print banner method. What is happening in the print banner method? Just look at that code. It is predefined method, which is calling as part of run method. Run is the bootstrapping method, which is used to start our boot application. Private banner, print banner method is getting called. So first here, this dot banner mode is equal to off. Then what is happening? If the banner mode is off, what is happening? What it is returning?
display.
Null value. It is returning null value.
Null value.
Okay. Now, if banner mode is off, it will return null value. That means if you want to stop banner printing, you need to set the banner mode as off. If you don't want to print the banner on the console, you need to set that banner mode as off. Okay. Now, after that, it is checking resource loader. If this dot resource loader not equal to null, then load the resource loader. Otherwise, load the default resource loader. So it is a ternary operator. Can I say that it is a ternary operator?
Yes, sir.
That means it is checking programmer is asking to print any customized banner. If not, then load the default banner. That is the meaning of that 579 line number. The resource loader is not null, then load the resource loader. If it is null, then default resource loader. Okay. Now, after that, Spring application banner printer, there is a class available. For that class, it is passing some constructor arguments. It is giving the banner printer. It is giving the banner printer. So first line, if the mode is off, don't print anything, just stop it, null. After that, if the mode is not off, then this logic, this condition will not satisfy. Then it will load the banner, either user defined banner or predefined banner. It is going to load based on the condition. After that, it is calling one class called banner printer. That is done. After that, it is checking mode is log or not. If the mode is log or not. If the mode is log, it will print that banner on the log file also. If the mode is log, it will print the banner on the log file and it is going to stop it. So it means I don't want to print the banner on the console. I want to print banner only in the log file. Then we will set the mode is equal to log. If log condition is not, if this condition off is not satisfied, log is not satisfied, then what is the default? Print the banner on the console. That is system.out.println. Okay. How many modes are there for banner now? Guys, how many modes are there for banner now?
Three modes.
Three
Off,
modes.
on, and log.
Off, log, console.
Console.
Off, log, console. If I set the banner mode as off, what will happen? Banner will be stopped. That banner will not print on the console. Okay. If I set the mode is equal to log, banner will print on the log file. If I don't set any mode, what is the default mode? Console. It is going to print the banner on the console. What is the default banner which is printing by the Spring Boot? Spring text. Spring text is printing as a default content, banner content in the console. Now let's run it. Let's run it. Now let me keep a breakpoint here, guys. Print banner method. Here I'm keeping a breakpoint at the 322 line number. We'll debug that code. Right click, debug as boot app. Right click, debug as boot application. I'm trying to debug this application to understand how the code is getting executed. Yeah, this is the constructor. Now we entered into run method. So can I say this run method is bootstrapping method of the Spring Boot application?
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the bootstrapping method of the Spring Boot application.
Application. Yeah.
Yeah, it is preparing the environment, then print banner. It is calling one predefined method, print banner. Go inside this. Yeah, it is checking banner mode. What is the mode available now? What is the banner mode available now?
Console.
Console.
Did I set anywhere the mode as console, or by default it is coming as console?
Default it
By,
is.
By default.
Did I set that mode, or it is coming by default?
By
by
default.
default. It is by default.
That means what is the conclusion? If we don't set any mode for the banner, by default it is going to take the mode as console.
Console.
Now, first condition will satisfy or will not satisfy?
Will not.
Will not certify.
Will not satisfy.
All right. Resource loader. Okay. Now, in the resource loader, did I configure any resource loader, or my resource loader is null value?
Null value.
Null value.
If the resource loader is null value, which loader it is going to take?
Default
resource loader. That means the default Spring context. Now, Spring application banner printer. We got it. Banner mode. This condition will satisfy or will not satisfy?
Not certify.
No, sir. No, sir.
Not satisfied. Then banner printer dot print method. Where it is going to print that banner now?
Yeah.
System dot out. That means it's going to print on the console. Now see here, in the console, banner is printed or not?
Banner is printed. Yeah.
That is a default banner. That is a default banner which is printed on the console. Now, so guys, you understand what is banner and how it is getting printed on the console? All right. Now let me set banner mode as off. Let me set the banner mode as off. In order to set the banner mode as off, go to application or properties, spring dot banner dot main dot banner mode. I'm going to set the mode as off. Spring dot main dot banner mode is equal to off. Now let me run this application, guys. Run as boot app. Run it. Banner is printing or banner is not printing?
Banner is
not printing.
Banner is not.
Why that banner is not printing now?
Because we have already disabled.
Application not off and you don't properties
We
will
have
be
set the mode as
set the
off.
property mode.
We have set the mode as off. Okay. Now, Spring Boot banner will have below 3 modes. Spring Boot banner will have below 3 modes. One is off mode. Second one is log mode. Third one is console mode. Okay. Note, the default banner mode is console. The default banner mode is console. If we set the mode as off, if we set banner mode as off, then banner will not be printed. Then banner will not print. To set the mode of the banner, spring.main.banner.mode is equal to off. Where we are going to set it? In the applicational properties, we are going to set that mode. Are you guys clear? We can set the log also. We can set the log also as a mode. Run as boot app. Guys, please mute your mic. Right click on this project. Run as boot app. Select the application which contains a main method. Now we are running it. we are running it. Now boot application, currently we did not enable any logging, so by default it is using console appender. As the logging is happening on the console, it is printing that on the console. Okay, now next one, we can set the banner mode as console also. That is a default mode. Even if you set it, it will comes under by default console only. Right click, run as boot app. Run as boot app. Yeah. Now see the console mode. Banner is printing on the console or not?
Yeah.
The banner is printing on the console. Sai Jagannatham, Netaji Mane. You people are making lot of noise. All right. Now banner mode is equal to console. Banner mode is equal to log. Banner mode is equal to off. So total there are three modes available for the banner in the Spring Boot. Banner printing is part of run method. Banner printing is part of run method. Very good. Now if I
Sorry for the interruption. I have a question, sir.
hold on, so let me complete it.
Okay, sir.
If we don't set any mode for the banner, then it is going to take the default mode as a console. It is going to print that banner on the console. Suppose if I set the mode is equal to log, if I set the mode is equal to log, it is responsible to print the banner on the log file, log based on the logging. But currently, do we have any configuration for the logging, or we don't have any configuration for the logging in the project?
We don't have.
We
We don't
don't
have
have.
any configuration for logging.
Yeah.
If we don't have any configuration for the logging, then boot is going to take the default configuration for the logging. It will print the logs on the console by using console appender. So what is the destination now? Console is the destination for printing the logging. As the logging is happening on the console, the banner is also printed on the console. Tomorrow, if you change that logging properties to file, if you change the log destination to the files, then that banner will print only on the file. Okay, but currently we don't have that logging configuration. By default, it is printing the logs on the console. Hence, that banner also printed on the console. Very good. Now, I don't want to print that Spring as a banner. I want to print Ashok IT as a banner. Or I want to print my project name as a banner. Or I want to print my company name as a banner. How to print? How to print customized text as the banner text. Okay. In order to print customized text as a banner text, in the resources, create one file, new other file. Inside that file, we'll keep banner.txt. We'll create one text file called banner.txt. Create one text file called banner.txt. Inside the banner.txt, we need to keep the ASCII characters. We need to keep the ASCII characters. Now, go to browser, ASCII generator, ASCII text generator. Go to ASCII text generator. Now here, type what you want as a ASCII text. Now I want Ashok IT as a ASCII text. Now this is the ASCII text that I got. Copy this ASCII text and keep in the banner.txt file. I'm keeping this in the banner.txt file, Ashok IT. Okay. Now let us run our boot application. Earlier Spring is printed. Now let's verify. Run as boot app. Run as boot app. See the console messages now. Now you can see Ashok IT is printed as a banner text. Ashok IT is printed as a banner text. So in the real time, sometimes some projects will have company name as a banner text. Some projects will have project's name itself as a banner text. If at all, if you want to customize that banner text, you need to create one text file with a name called banner.txt. You should not change the file name. Banner.txt we are keeping in the resources. Then Spring Boot resource loader will load that file and will use that text for the banner printing and will print that banner based on the mode. Okay. So customizing banner text. How to customize the banner text. Customize banner text customization. Spring Boot banner text customization. Spring Boot banner text customization. Create a text file. Create a text file in src main resources folder. Create a text file banner.txt in the src main resources folder. Generate ASCII text for the required content. That ASCII text generation you can do from here. ASCII text generation you can do from here. So this is the URL where you can generate the ASCII text. Copy and paste ASCII text in banner.txt file. Run the boot application. Run the boot application. Look at this, how we are going to customize banner text in the Spring Boot. So create a text file with a name called banner.txt in the src main resources folder. Then generate ASCII text for the required content. Copy and paste that ASCII text in the banner.txt file. Then run the boot application. Then we can see that banner text is printed on the console as per our requirement. So how to customize banner text in the Spring Boot, that we understood, and how the banner is working. Guys, please read these points once. All of you, please go through these points once. When we run Spring Boot application, it will print Spring logo as banner on console. Spring Boot provided flexibility to customize that banner. Okay. For the Spring Boot banner will have below 3 modes. One is off, second one is log, third one is console. The default banner mode is console. It will print on the console. It will print on console. Okay. If we set banner mode, if we set banner mode as off, then banner will not print. We'll set the banner mode in applicational properties file like below. We'll set banner mode in application dot properties file like below. We'll set banner mode in applicational properties file like below. Spring dot main dot banner mode is equal to off. Good. Then banner will not print on the console. Right. Spring Boot banner text customization. If you don't want to print that Spring as a banner text, if you want to print your company name or your project name as a banner text, then you should create one file. In src main resources folder with a name called banner.txt. Then inside that file, we should not keep the normal text. We need to keep the ASCII text in that file. So to generate the ASCII text for the required content, this URL I have given. Copy and paste that ASCII text in the banner.txt file. Run the boot application. Then it will print the content which you have kept in the banner.txt file as the banner content in the Spring Boot application. Are you guys clear with this one now? What is banner and how the banner is printing, how to stop the banner, and how to customize the banner in the Spring Boot?
Yes, sir.
Now, any
Yes,
questions, anyone?
Sir, what is the mode now in property file?
Sorry?
What is the mode of banner in the properties file now? Can you go to properties file?
It will decide. How the banner should be printed.
Oh,
If I don't give any mode, then what is the default mode?
Console.
So what does it mean? The banner should print on the console. If I set the mode as off,
should we name the file name as only banner.txt or we can name it any other name?
banner.txt, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
So suppose in future I create an application, okay,
Uh-huh.
and I want to debug my application. and
Okay.
I want to see the logs on debug mode. Okay. So can I do the same things in here in application.properties you mentioned, or banner.txt, like console is log or maybe something?
You can do that. You can do. No, sir.
So no, yeah.
Banner.txt console, that is only for the banner content. Our application log files based on the log4j configuration.
Okay. Okay. So that's the logs is related with the banner printing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Not related with the banner printing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you.
All good, guys? Any confusion, anyone?
No, sir.
Good, fine, perfect. So with this, we completed banners in the Spring Boot. Next concept, runners in the Spring Boot. Next concept is runners in Spring Boot. So first of all, what is a runner and how many types of runners are available in the Spring Boot? Already we have seen already we have seen run method code available in the Spring Boot. Already we have seen the run method available in the Spring Boot. What is the logic that is executed? Now, first let me tell you the definition of what is the runner in the Spring Boot. Spring Boot runners are used to execute the logic only one time when the application got started. Spring Boot runners are used to execute the logic only one time when the application got started. Spring Boot runners are used to execute the logic only one time when the application got started. All right, now Spring Boot runners are used to execute the logic only one time when the application got started. Spring Boot runners will be called as part of Spring Boot runners are getting called as part of Spring application.run method. As part of Spring application.run method. Spring Boot supports for two types of runners. Spring Boot supports for two types of runners. They are, one is application runner and the second one is command line runner. Runners in the Spring Boot. Spring Boot runners are used to execute the logic only one time once the application got started. So who is going to call these runners? Runners are getting called from Spring Boot application run method. The run method is the bootstrapping method for the boot application. The complete project execution will start from there only. So it supports for two types of runners. They are, one is application runner, second one is the command line runner. So then you may get a question. So Ashok, why to execute the logic only one time when the application is started? What is the real-time scenario to use these runners in the project? What is the scenario to use these runners in the project? All right, let us take a scenario. I have a project here. For this project, there is a database also. For a project, there is a database is also available. There we are going to maintain the data in the form of tables. Okay, here I have a registration page, first name, some text fields are available, first name, last name, something like that. Some text fields are available, DOB, a text field is available. Similarly, there is a text field called country. The country text field contains a drop down. The country text field contains drop down. In the drop down, we need to display all the country names. The country names should come from the database table. The country names are coming from the database table. There we have the data in the form of columns and rows. Right. So whenever a user land on the registration page, what should happen? This page will talk to one controller, controller will talk to service, service will talk to repository, then it will fetch the data from the database table it will populate the country names in the country drop down. It will populate the country names in the country drop down. So one user opened a registration page, country names are displayed by retrieving from the database. Done. Second user again clicked on the registration page. Again, the same query is executing to retrieve the same data. Third user accessed the registration page, same query executed, retrieved the same data. Like this, 1,000 people are trying to create the account in our application. 1,000 times, same query will execute to retrieve the same data from the database table. Are you able to understand the problem here? To retrieve the same data, we are executing 1,000 queries with the database. 1,000 network calls are happening in the project, which will reduce performance of our application. Are you able to understand? Next one. Instead of doing this, what I will to do is, whenever this application is getting started, whenever this application got started, I will create one runner. When this runner should execute, whenever my project is started. Now, inside this runner, I will write the logic to read the data from the database, and this runner will read the data, will store the data into one map, key value pair, or it will store the data into cache. So when it will do that, whenever my application is started, immediately this runner is going to execute. This runner will retrieve the data from the database, will store in the cache. Now, when users are trying to register, I no need to read the country details from the database. I can read the data from the cache. So who is responsible to load the data from the database and store into cache? Runner is responsible. How many times you want to read the data from the database and store into cache? Only one time, when the application is started. So if you want to execute any such kind of logic only one time, when the application is started, then you will go for runners in the Spring Boot. So one of the perfect scenario to use the runner is loading the data into cache. Loading the data into cache is the perfect scenario to go for the runners. How many times it will execute? Only one time. Our requirement is also same. I want to execute the logic only one time. When the application got started. Guys, are you able to understand the use case for the runners and what is runner?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Any live example for these runners? Like
Yeah, that is what I told you now, sir.
no, by
Use case.
executing the code, like how
By
actually.
executing the code, now I can't do that because it is a web application, right? I need that web application development. In this MVC, we will do that.
Okay, then you are going to write practically this runner in MVC.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now just I'm giving you the concept of the runners. I will give you a simple example whether the runner is executing or not. Use case we will implement in the MVC example.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So guys, do you understand what is runner in the Spring Boot now?
Yes, sir.
So what is runner? Come on, what is runner in the Spring Boot now?
Runners
If
are
we want to
used
execute
to
the logic only one time, then we can go
Spring
for
Boot
it.
runners.
Spring
Spring Boot runners are used to execute the logic only one time when the application got started. Okay, who is calling the runners in the Spring Boot? Who is calling runners in the Spring Boot?
Spring application dot run.
Spring application dot run.
Runners is calling the runners. How many types of runners we can use in the Spring Boot?
application runner and command runner.
Two. Application runner and command runner.
Runners we can use here. One is application runner, another one is the command line runner. One is application runner, another one is the command line runner. All right. Now, guys, see here. Let me debug my program and show you where exactly the runners are getting called. Okay. Now, right click, debug as boot application. Currently, there is no runner in my project. Just I am trying to debug this program. Okay. Now, can I say this is bootstrapping logic of the Spring Boot? Can I say this is bootstrapping logic of the Spring Boot?
Yes, so
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Say this is bootstrapping logic of the Spring Boot. Execute this line by line. Guys, let me know if you find anything related to runner. Okay, I'm executing this program line by line by using F6 keyword.
Line number.
Printing banner. It is available at the 322 line number. Banner is printing.
Application.
IOC container is here. Banner printing is there. Based on the mode of the banner, it is going to print it. Okay, banner printing. Creating application context. What is the meaning of create application context?
IOC
Context
container.
will be
IOC container is getting
Saying
created.
as
Yep. Now, prepare context. Good. IOC is getting prepared. Refresh the context. After refresh, yeah. What is 333 line number?
Call
All
runners.
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 Call runners. So runners are calling from run method. Now go inside that method. Call runners. So what type of runners it is checking?
Application
It is
runner and
checking
command line runner.
application runner. It is checking command line runner. It is sorting them. Once the sorted, that means it is writing a for loop. For loop means, can I have more than one runner in the project?
yes.
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 Run only one time, but is a priority set.
Got it. Right. Runners. For loop is there. That means, can we have more than one runner now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can
Yes.
have if
Yeah. First it is checking. Now that for loop is not executed. Why that for loop is not executed?
Runner is not set. Runner is not set. And runner is not using in our application. That's why.
Runner is not available in our application. That's why that for loop that for loop is not executed. Now, okay. F6, F7.
Sir, what is the difference between command line runner and
We'll come to that, sir. We'll come to that. First of all, we don't know what is them, right? What is the runner? Once we develop, then you will understand the difference also. Okay. So with this, you got the clarity when the runner is getting executed. So see here, run method and return run method and call this run method. Once these runners are executed, at the end runners are calling. At the end runners are calling means already application is started or application is not started. IO banner is printed, environment is prepared, banner is printed, IOC is started, context is refreshed, everything is done. At the last step, it is calling runners. After runners are called, it is returning the context object. So when the runners are getting called in the Spring Boot application, before terminating the run method, before returning the IOC reference from the run method, the runners are getting called in the Spring Boot. So that's why I'm saying the definition. Spring Boot runners are used to execute the logic only one time when the application got started. So runners will be called multiple times, or runners will be called only one time.
Only one
Only
time.
one time.
only one
Only
time.
one time.
Runners will be called only one time. Runners will be called only one time. So before application execution startup or after application startup, the runners are calling.
After application started.
After application startup, the runners are getting executed only one time. So with the code that you have seen, predefined code, is my definition is correct for that?
Yes, sir,
Yes, sir.
definitely.
Runners are used to execute the
Yes.
logic only
Got
one time.
started.
Application got started. Spring Boot runners are getting called as part of Spring application dot run method. There are two types of runners in the Spring Boot. One is called application runner. Another one is called as command line runner. Is this clear, guys? Theoretically, are you clear with this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
let me
Sir,
create. Let me
sir,
create one runner.
sir,
Let me create one runner.
sir, when you start the application, okay, sir.
Sorry.
Sir, my question is, when you start the application, then only container will be created, then container will identified that is there any runners are available or not. Then only it will execute the logic.
Exactly, sir.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now, let me create.
Hello, sir.
Suppose we are using Spring dev tools, then runners will be called 2 times since it is a hot swapping, right?
If you have not 2 times, I mean dev tools means it is restarting the project. Only one time it will be called. It's not related to dev tools, right? Dev tools means it will restart your project. Application is getting restarted.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever it is restarted, that means application starting. One time it will be called.
And
Sir,
can
I
we
want
keep any kind of data inside the cache, like binary data, image,
Whatever
texture?
you want, you can. It's your application requirement, sir.
sir, I have doubt, sir.
Let me complete the example, guys.
Okay, sir.
Right click on this package, new class. I'm keeping this as a runner, app runner, my app runner. Finish. I have created it as a normal Java class. Now, to represent this as an application runner, I should implement that interface. Public class, my app runner implements application runner in the Spring Boot. So application runner is a class or application runner is an interface.
Is an interface.
It is an interface. So
Yeah.
I am writing implementation class. So we need to override the method. There is a method called run method. There is a method called run method. Now system.out.println my app runner got executed. My app runner got executed. Okay. So I have written a class, public class, my app runner implements application runner. So whenever you implement that interface, you need to override the run method. Whatever the logic you want to execute using this runner, you should write that in the inside run method. Whenever runner is executed, it will call the run method. Whatever the logic you write, that should execute only one time, that will be called. Now run this project. See, runner is executing or not. Run as boot application. Run as boot application. Runner executed or runner is not executed?
Executed.
Not executed.
If it is executed, where is that method? Where is that
Not
line?
executed, sir. Not executed.
Executed or not executed?
Not executed.
Not executed. Why it is not executed? First of all, did I represent
We
this
have
class
not
as
fetched.
Spring? I have not represented this class as a Spring Bean. I have not represented that class as a Spring Bean. Now let me represent that as a Spring Bean by writing a component. Right click, run as boot app. Now runner is executed or runner is not executed?
Executed, sir.
Sir, executed.
Executed.
Runner got executed. Runner got executed. So do you understand how to create a runner in the Spring Boot now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to create a runner in the Spring Boot, we just need to go for a Spring Bean. That Spring Bean should implement an interface called application runner. Public void run method, application arguments you got as a parameter. Inside this method, you can write logic to store data into cache. Logics to store data into cache. So how many times that logic will execute?
One time.
One time it is going to execute. Are you guys clear with this one?
One
Yes, sir.
time.
Right. Now let me create one more runner, command line runner. New,
Yes, sir.
my CMD runner. My CMD runner. So here also we are going to implement command line runner. Okay. For this we will write component. For this we will write the component. Command line runner is an interface or command line runner is a class?
Interface.
Interface. So we should override a method called run method.
Run.
We should override a method called run method. Now here also we are overriding run method. Let me write one SOP statement. System.out.println println system.out.println my CMD runner got executed. My CMD runner got executed. Okay. Here also you can write the logic to store the data into cache. Logic to store data into cache. Logic to store the data into cache. Okay. Now I have two runners here. Right click, run as boot app. Right click, run as boot app. So which one is executed first?
My
Application runner.
Application runner.
So if you have both runners, which one is getting the first preference?
Application
runner.
Application runner.
Application runner is getting the first preference. Command line runner is getting the second. Now I have created two runners in the project. Let us debug this application and see now. Let us run this project in the debug mode. Debug as boot app. Debug as boot app. F6. Printing banner. Printing banner. Now F6. Application context. Right now, see here, we have a method called call runners method. What is the purpose of this call runners method? To execute the runners which are available in our application. Now go inside this. F6. Sort the runners. It has done the sorting of the runners. So first one, which one it got? My app runner it got. Then my CMD runner it got. Now it is having a for loop. So what is it checking? If that runner is belongs to application runner, then it is calling that. Calling means our class is going to execute. Okay. Now you see on the console, our application runner got executed or not. Here actual the logic is available to execute our application runner. This is the call runner method. Our run method is going to be called. Suppose if the bean is belongs to CMD runner. If the bean is belongs to CMD runner, call the runner method. Call the command line runner method. Here to call the application runner, this logic will be used. This to call the command line runner, this method will be used. Inside that what they are doing. Now if you observe these two methods, you can understand the difference between application runner and command line runner. This method is used to call the application runner. This method is used to call the command line runner. So see the difference between these two methods, guys.
Args is the only difference.
Only parameter is the different, nothing else. For one
Overloaded
method,
methods.
for one method, application arguments passing as parameter directly. For another one, only source arguments are passing. For the command line argument, for the command line runner, only source arguments are passing. For the application runner, all the application arguments are passing. That is the only difference between application runner and the command line runner. If you see the method parameters also, application runner parameter will take application arguments as a parameter. Okay. Command line runner will take string arguments as a parameter. Method parameters are different. So if you see from where exactly the runners are getting called, for application runner run method, they are passing application arguments completely. Okay. Whereas for the command line runner, they are passing only source arguments as the parameters. They are passing only source arguments as the parameters. Is this clear for everyone? Application runner and command line runner.
Yes.
Got my point? Good. So with this, you understood what is runners and how to create the runners in the Spring Boot also. Tell me what is the use case to go for runners in the Spring Boot?
We
To execute the logic only one time, then we will go for runners in the Spring Boot. To execute any logic only one time, then we will go for runners in the Spring Boot.
Sir,
Okay.
any runner we can take, no, sir?
Hold on, sir.
Sir, this project, this folder which you created for our batch, where you have all 4 projects of our batch. Can you keep this project in GitHub and daily check-in whatever we have finished, so we can parallelly when we are revising, we can parallelly refer to the code.
Tell me what is your question?
This
okay,
project,
go ahead.
So this folder which we have created, where we have 4 projects of our batch. So all this entire folder, can you check in into GitHub daily? So when we are revising, we can parallelly.
Sure, sir. I will maintain one repository. I will share it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Sir, my question is, if you want to execute the logic one time, runners we use. What runner we need to use? Is there any
application runner, you can use command runner, you can use anything you can use.
Okay.
Suppose if you want to take some arguments also for that, if you want to take only source arguments, then go for command line runner. If you want to take all the arguments, then go for application runner. Now today, I want you people to do some analysis. What is the source argument? What is application argument? Okay. What is source argument and what is application argument? Got it?
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Command line runner and application runner both point to the same cache or different cache?
If you need to maintain the different caches, right? Why to maintain same cache?
Okay. And the cache is maintained by using like
LRU
cache.
First of all, you don't need to use both. If you really want to store the data to the cache, only one runner is sufficient, right? Why to write the 2 runners?
Okay. And cache is implemented as LRU cache or
whatever you want that you can do.
No. I mean, how it is implemented, like least recently used cache.
That is what, sir. If you have such requirement to remove the least recent caches, then you will go for LRU, or else we'll store everything in the cache, normal cache, without the LRU concept.
Sir, this concept is like this: a Hibernate, we are maintaining the session cache objects like this only.
That is different, sir. That story. Don't compare Hibernate cache with runners. Runners are not only meant for cache. Any logic. Suppose I want to delete the data from the tables when my application is started, or I want to insert the data into the table when my application is started. Such kind of requirements also we can do by using runners.
Okay.
So cache is one of the concepts that can be implemented by using runners, but runners are not only for cache.
Okay.
Sir, a runner is taking the data in the form of key and value.
Runner will not take the data in the form of key and value. Not, man. Cache will maintain the data in the form of key and value. Runners are used to execute the logic.
Yes, sir.
Any logic you can execute.
Business logic.
Any business logic you want to execute only one time.
So, sir, it means that it is not necessary to use cache if we are using runners. It may or it may not.
Exactly. It is provided. You can do that, but it's not mandatory. Now, simple man, I have a requirement.
Okay.
When my application is started, I want to delete the data from all the staging tables. How many times I will need to do that? Only one time. Can I write that logic to delete the data from the tables in my run method?
Yes.
Yes, we can do that. That's one of the example for runner. So any logic you want to execute only one time, that you can be done by using runners.
So
I want to do one thing. Whenever my application is started, I want to send one email to the project manager. Application is started. Only one time, once application is started, I want to send a mail. Can I do that by using runner?
Yes.
Okay. Not only cache, any requirement. If you have the requirement to execute the logic only one time, Once the application started, then go for runner. Cache is one of the use case. Sending the email is one of the use case. Deleting the data is one of the use case. Inserting the data is one of the use case for the runners.
So
Hello,
what will be
sir.
the better approach? Means application arguments, application runner we should go, or command line runner?
Sir,
So
if you go for application runner, you will get the complete data in the form of object. If you want to take only source arguments, then go for command line runner. So check it today. What is the difference between application arguments and source arguments?
okay.
Hello, sir.
That is a task. Okay.
Yep.
Hello,
Yeah.
sir. Where you can get classroom notes, sir?
I'm sending that in the email, sir, daily.
Sir, I send it to with your email, sir.
Sure.